Forbidden Rite is one of those skills that simply does not get old. It deals more damage compared to other spells in Path of Exile at the cost of its self-damaging component. We have tried multiple variations of it on this channel. We played it as low life with Energy Shield, we played it with Chaos Inoculation, and regular self-cast with Petrified Blood. All these variations deals impressive damage, however none of them had anything special going for them in terms of defense. Hence, I decided to remake this spell to be multiple times tankier without losing damage. And I wanted to cut down on cost as much as possible. Not gonna lie, all of that sounded impossible at first, but at the end I managed to triple our effective life pool. Our new defenses can handle 3 deadly damage mods on most maps. They are also well rounded against all types of damage, unlike previous iterations which had problems with physical damage. We also managed to reduce the overall cost of this build, as you won't be seeing expensive items like +1 power charge rings or mage blood. So we begin with our Ascendancy. We are an occultist, one of the best ascendancies for supporting chaos damage. First we begin with Void Beacon. This node deletes 20% cold and chaos resistance from nearby enemies. This node also deletes nearby enemies' ability to regenerate life, which is useful especially when Maven is witnessing the fight. Next we have Withering Presence. This node grants us 60% chaos resistance and increases our total chaos damage by 15%. It also inflicts Wither debuff on nearby enemies once every second. Wither makes enemies take 6% increased chaos damage and stacks up to 15 times. From here we go for Forbidden Power. This node increases our maximum power charge count by 1. It also increases both area of effect and area damage with power charges. Easily the best power charge ascendancy node in the game. Last but not least we got Profane Bloom. This node is the cause of all of these fancy purple explosions you see on the screen. It is your bread and butter for clearing as an occultist, but only triggers if monsters are cursed before they die. We passively achieve this with an aura curse setup, which we will talk about later. But with that we are done with our Ascendancy. Now let's take a look at our passive tree. Our tree focuses on area damage, area of effect, chaos damage, power charges, life, spell crit chance and crit multi, and cast speed. Next we got 2 large cluster jewel setups. Both of these adds the following chaos notables: Touch of Cruelty, Unholy Grace, and Unwavering Evil. Next we branch off into 2 medium cluster jewels. These add some powerful AoE notables like Towering Threat and Vast Power. Finally we got 3 identical small cluster jewels. All of them adds the following notable: Born of Chaos. This one increases our maximum chaos resistance by 3%. With our current setup, we are capped at 90% maximum chaos resistance, and you should be pushing your uncapped chaos resistance to be equal to that. Otherwise, the spell does not work. You have been warned. Now for mastery choices, we have +1% to maximum chaos resistance, 12% increased mana reservation efficiency, 3% increased damage per charge we have, skills cost life instead of 30% of mana, 10% reduced mana cost of skills, plus 25% to crit multi against unique enemies, and plus 50 to maximum life. And with that we are done with our passive tree. Now let's talk about our items. First we have the signature wand for all power charge spellcasters, and that is Void Battery. We are using 2 of it. I have talked about this one in many of my previous videos. It simply increases our maximum power charge count by 1 and grants us increased spell damage for each one we have. Next we have the Double Ganger Guise. This extremely powerful item grants us 40% less physical and chaos damage taken while equipped without activating the skill it provides. It also grants us 10% life regen whenever we are hit, basically all the time, since the mere action of casting Forbidden Rite hits us. Literally better than every single mirror tier chest out there. Anyway, next we have Crown of the Inward Eye with +1 to maximum power charge corruption. This is a very versatile item in Path of Exile, and it even works in this build without the corruption. However, you will be losing some damage without it. I recommend mass buying this helm and valing each and every single one until you get the corruption that you want. That's like 90% cheaper than just buying it already corrupted. Next we have All Netol's Vow. This amulet grants us some nice resistances and allows socketed support gems to support gems in our chest, effectively making them a 7 link. Make sure to anoint Infused on your amulet, as it is the last power charge node that we couldn't manually afford to allocate on the passive tree. As for what support gem to socket in this amulet, we got Power Charge on crit. Anyway, our next item is a pair of gloves that have life, chaos resistance, and culling strike. The rest of the mods are optional. Next we have a pair of boots that have Tailwind, Onslaught, Elusive, Movement Speed, Life, and Resistances. It is worth noting that most of these mods are considered quality of life and are not mandatory. They increase our speed, as in Tailwind and Elusive, and you can play this build without them. Now for our belt, we got a generic rare belt with lots of life and resistances. As for our rings, we mostly focus on attributes to cover our gem requirements. Aside from them, we have life, crit multi warlord mod, resistances, and crafted mana prefixes. Our second ring is almost identical. I recommend buying your rings last, as they will complement whatever you are missing. And that was it for our items. Now let's talk about gems that goes inside of them. For our main 6 link we have Forbidden Rite, Awaken Multiple Projectile Support, Awaken Void Manipulation, Awaken Spell Echo, Increased Critical Strike Support, and Increased Critical Damage. Next we have a 4 link Aura setup. This one contains Determination, Awaken Blasphemy Support, Despair, and level 4 Enlighten. Next we got a defensive 4 link setup. This one contains Steel Skin, level 1 Arcane Surge, Enhanced Support, and Increased Duration. Make sure to bind Steel Skin to your left mouse button to make it auto-activate whenever you move. Next we got a 3 link Totem Support setup. In it we have Wither, Spell Totem, and Multiple Totem Support. This setup allows us to inflict all 15 stacks of Wither in like 2 seconds, effectively doubling our chaos damage. Last but not least, we got some leftover gems. They are Max Level Clarity, Max Level Vitality, and Level 1 Precision. And that was it for our gems. Now let's talk about jewels. For our Watcher's Eye, we have plus 30% to critical strike multiplier while affected by precision, and 15% increased life recovery rate while affected by vitality. Next we got one glorious Vanity Timeless Jewel that specifically mentions Exhibiqua. This jewel will convert all nearby keystones into Divine Flesh. Divine Flesh grants us 5% to maximum chaos resistance and makes half of all elemental damage we take to be taken as chaos damage instead. This interaction is only useful if your chaos resistance is higher than your elemental resistance, and the effect grows greater the bigger the difference. And that's why you need to have 90% maximum chaos resistance in this build. Now any remaining jewel socket you have left should be filled with a normal rare jewel like this one. We are looking for life, increased crit multi while dual wielding, increased area damage, and any other damage mod you can find. Alternatively, you can get resistances or attributes if you still need them. Now for Bandits quest, we are going to help Elira. As for Pantheons, we got the Soul of the Brine King and the Soul of Tokuhama. But with that, we are done with our best iteration of Forbidden Rite build. If you guys have enjoyed this video, then make sure to leave a like and maybe consider subscribing so you don't miss out on any future build guide like this one. My name is Phoenix and I will see you all in the next video.